I've got a friend who's a doctor. She's a brilliant woman. And we were having one of those lovely catch-up chats. You know when you haven't seen a friend in ages and you've got the kettles constantly on and you're putting the world to rights. It was one of those and it was lovely. And we ended up talking, I don't know how we got onto this subject, but we ended up talking about how much toilet roll we use. I think I'd been bragging. When my boyfriend's round at mine, we can rattle through a 9-pack in a week. And she said to me, "You're using too much." I went, "What? Is there like a shortage?" And she went, "No, but you're using too much." And then she went, "Dry, wet, dry." I said, "What?" "Dry, wet, dry." Dry, use a bit of toilet roll. Wet, one of those moist toilet tissues. I don't know what that mime is. That's scary because I'm quite clearly doing somebody else's arse, aren't I? It's good to see I'm very thorough, though, isn't it? So that's wet, and then pat it dry with a bit of toilet roll. And I said, "You know what, I'm 36, I've been doing this a long time. How about I just stick to my usual way?" And she said, and I hope this is how she talks to her patients, she said, "Your arsehole will fall off." But you know, there are those times when you run out of toilet roll, and obviously the worst time to run out of toilet roll is when you really fucking need some toilet roll. Give us a cheer if you've ever used something else because you had to. Oh, quite a lot of you. What kind of things have you used? Shout out. A sock. Who's that? Give us a wave. Where you love, there you are. Happy as bloody Larry there, aren't you? Okay, so you used a sock. Did you do it like that? Oh, did you put it on your hand? Oh, like the saddest ever glove puppet. I don't want to. I don't want to. So well done, pet. What else have we used? Shout out. What was what was that? A shower head. Oh my God. Did you have to like? Oh, did you have to paw your cheeks? Oh my God. Was that in your own shower? Was it in your own shower? Oh, that's all right then, good. Imagine, oh no, it's just at me friends. Oh, he's here. Oh, hiya. I didn't tell you about this, did I? So we've got a sock and a shower head. What other? Spare pants. Somebody who said spare pants. Somebody here, that's a good answer. It's another good reason to carry spare pants. What was the fella over here? Sandpaper. Do we believe him? No. Is it? What was that, love? You were on the beach. And what? And that's where I know that's where sand comes from, but I don't know if there are many DIY places on the beach. Oh, you know that beach that's got all those B&Qs. Any other things we've used? Your hand. Any others? What was that? Your boss's performance review. High five, fella. Well done. Excellent, excellent work. There was a lady the other day, and I use the term lady as loosely as it's possible to use it, said that she had used a sandwich. I don't know about you lot, but I can't eat Nutella anymore. You told me yours, I'll tell you mine. When it happened to me, I was in my flat, and I thought, I was sort of thinking about the other rooms, visualising the other rooms, thinking, what on earth could I use? Never been posh enough for kitchen roll, but I've always had tissues in. But I had run out of tissues at the same time, and I was thinking, sod's law, what on earth could I use? And then I remembered that I'd recently treated myself to some flash wipes. Yes, it stung. Yes, it was very lemony. It was also the cleanest I've ever felt. And to be fair, the advert does say that they're for stubborn rings, so... I did a show in Belfast, and a fella shouted out an answer, but I couldn't quite. It was just a noise, because he had such a strong accent, I could just make out a noise. I just heard, wah, wah, that's all I heard, wah, wah. And I said, "What, you wiped your ass on a werewolf, did you, love?" Turned out what he actually used was wire wool. I think I'd rather take my chances with a fucking werewolf. But I told you that I'm cautious, I'm a driver, I think I'm a good driver, I'm quite a sensible driver. I never do anything reckless behind the wheel. But sometimes we're put in positions where we have to behave differently to our personalities. And I had one of those in about September last year. I was working in Oxford, I finished work at about 11 p.m, and I got a phone call. And it was one of those phone calls that none of us want, but some of us get. And it was a phone call to say that my mum had been rushed into hospital and I needed to get home as quickly as possible. Now, the journey time from where I was to where they were was about a 5.5-hour drive. And I was now stressed and incredibly worried about my mum, but there's no alternative. Sometimes you just have to get in the car, don't you? And I got in the car. The first part of the journey were quite sort of twisty, turny roads, kind of country lanes. And if you're familiar with those, if you're local, you take those at the speed limit, don't you? Because you know the bends that are coming up. But I'm generally going everywhere once, so I always pull back a little bit on those roads. Don't get us wrong, like on the straights, I was flooring it. Sometimes doing 72. It's all about me mum, fuck the law. But on the twisty turny bits, it was scary. It was a very narrow road, there were ditches either side, it was obviously pitch black. And cars were coming at me in the opposite direction around these bends at a hell of a rate, and it was genuinely terrifying. And it was on one of those bends that I hit and killed a deer. Now, I'm a massive animal lover and was horrified by what I'd done, and still am, and driving at night is still not particularly any fun. And as soon as it happened, I thought, I must have to ring somebody. This feels like maybe I need to file a report. Maybe this is even a criminal matter. So I thought, when I get home, I'm going to have to look into this. And sure enough, when I got home, it was 5 a.m. My mum wasn't doing too badly. They'd sent her home from hospital. They gave her some tablets. She seemed to be responding. And they sent her home. And I thought, now's my chance. Now that things have calmed down, I'm going to have to look into this. So I did what we all do in situations like that. If you're proud of yourself, you ask your dad, don't you? If you're not proud of yourself, you ask Google. So I typed into Google, what happens if I kill a, and just left it blank out of curiosity to see what the top answers were. Top one was a Pokemon character. Second one was a bird of prey, someone in a similar situation to myself. Third one, what happens if I kill a policeman? And as it happens, because it doesn't technically belong to anybody, it's not actually criminal. Though I did double check with a policeman friend of mine, because I wanted to make sure I was going through the right protocol. But also because I had a sneaking suspicion I was going to tell you lot. And if it had been criminal, I probably would have kept it really fucking quiet. But back to when it happened, back to being in the car. As soon as it happened, I rang my boyfriend hands-free, not an idiot, and I was upset. I was in a state of shock. I was crying a lot. And I think it's a testament to how good your relationship is as to whether your partner can sort you out in those situations. He's a very calm man, my fella, and I get stressed and tense quite a lot. And he's very good at sort of bringing me down and making me see reason. And I thought, well, he's pretty much got his work cut out for him tonight, because I still had a 4.5-hour drive ahead. And at that point, we didn't know what I was getting home to. And I said to him, I can't believe I just killed a deer. And he went, oh, babes, I've killed loads of things. Is this the beginning of a massive confession? You know how you thought your nana was ill? I've never been a rule breaker or a law breaker. If somebody tells me I can't do something, I just don't do it. It's what I've always been like. Like my sister reminded me recently, she said, remember we were never allowed space dust. Do you remember space dust? Never allowed it because my mum thought it was drugs. That's what all the bairns are getting into these days. They're all getting hooked. I'm sure she thought it was a gateway drug to dib, dabs and fountains. But my dad said, you've had it now, haven't you? And I went, no. And he went, but you're in your 30s. And I went, but I'm not allowed. But I had quite a girly relationship with my mum when I was little. Like if she got new makeup or new clothes, she'd always show me. Every single time she bought new perfume, she'd always say, do you want to smell of my new perfume? And I'd go, yes, please. And I'd go over to where she was, she'd bend down because I was only little, she'd pull her top to one side and I would inhale. And every single time she'd done a massive fart. But she never told me. For years, that's what I thought Chanel number 5 smelled like. At best, it's Chanel number 2. But my sister, she likes to buy me little presents every now and again. You know, sort of, she always says, I saw this and I thought of you. And they're never, you know, they're not big and expensive. They're just daft little things that she's seen. The most recent one was a pill box. I saw this and I thought of you. And it's a Mr. Man pill box to show children that tablets can be fun. And the Mr. Man of choice is actually Little Miss Late. Finally, somewhere for all of my morning after pills. But we had a chat recently, maybe Mum, she's got a friend who's quite a bit younger than her who's on the contraceptive injection. And I don't like the idea of the contraceptive injection because when I was on the pill, I had a lot of bother with it, so it was quite nice to be able to come off it straight away. With the injection, it's a bit more complicated. It was a very sensible conversation. It was a very female conversation that my dad chose to interject. Put his paper down and he went, "You should never mess with Mother Nature." And my mum went, "Never mess with Mother Nature. You can talk with your metal hips." My dad's a very friendly man. He likes to talk to people. He likes to talk to everybody. He likes to know people's names. He's the sort of person in a shop, he will read all of the name badges. So if we go in a shop, he gets his change off the lid down the till. He goes, "Thanks very much, Jean." We're just glad that he stopped staring at an old lady's tit. We got a train last year from London up to Newcastle. Me, my sister, my mum and dad managed to get a table on the train. Awesome work. And we got really cheap first-class tickets because we booked them when I was about 9. And a lady got on the train and sat across from us on her own. And my dad was instantly sort of itching to talk to her. Strange yet must chat. And they did have a very minor conversation. My dad said something like, "It's not that cold down here, is it?" And the lady said, "No, it's much warmer than it is up north." That was it. That was the extent of the conversation. Yet my dad still saw fit, in 10 minutes' time, when the woman removed her cardigan, to go, "Da-da-da, da-da-da-da." My dad has a mobile phone. He's getting on, he's nearly 70, he's got a mobile phone, and it's mostly for incoming, so me and my sister can text him to see we're all right, or we can ring him if we need him. He's not really bothered about texting out. He finds it a lot of faff, but doesn't really have the patience anymore. So to make his life easier, and fuck knows who taught him how to do this, he set himself a template text, which he sends out regardless of the situation. And the template text says, "Champion, love Dad." Regardless of whether I've won an award or been shitting myself all night, champion, love Dad. I've been trying to think of a question that I could ask him where that would be a really good answer. And the only one I can come up with is, "Dad, what was the name of the Wonder Horse on the telly in the 80s? But it was about this time last year that I was worried about my family. My mum and dad are both retired and both disabled. And I was worried about them sort of thinking before they put the heating on. You know, it was a very cold winter. Sort of thinking, can we afford it before they put the heating on? And I said, "You know what, you've looked after me all these years, including the 2. I moved back in after I got divorced. Never have kids, because I never properly fucking leave. I said, maybe I could start giving you a bit of a hand. Maybe I could start paying your heating bill." Not happy, not happy. Very proud people, my parents. There was a lot of sort of wrestling went on. I mean, verbal. I went to have my dad on the floor, popping out hips willy-nilly. And they eventually agreed. They still weren't happy about it, but they agreed it's the most sensible option, started to pay for the heating bill. A month later, I went to visit them. My dad opened the front door, and he was just wearing vest and pants. And I went, "Dad, it's 3 in the afternoon. Why haven't you got any clothes on?" He went, "It's boiling in there." And I heard my sister shout from the kitchen, "We've never even been on holiday anywhere this hot."